Amazing. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Google I/O. Welcome to what's new in Google AI. And welcome to the first sessions of the day after the keynotes. Is everybody really excited? Woo! Amazing. So I am so grateful to be here today with my colleague, Ammaar. My name is Paige. I'm the Eng lead for developer relations team at Google DeepMind. And Ammaar?
I lead product and design on AI Studio.
Very cool. And today we're going to be attempting to condense into 45 minutes an overview of everything that we've been doing at Google in the AI space. It's going to be really hard. But the good news is that for the rest of today and the rest of tomorrow and further on in the week, we have a whole bunch of other talks that are intended to be deep dives for some of the things that we'll just be touching on lightly today. So I don't think it's a secret that we've been shipping at a pretty relentless pace.
An insane amount of pace. I think if you just look at 2024, when we had the 1.5 series of models, we were just cracking the nut on multimodality, and look where we are now.
Exactly. And today we released Gemini 3.5 Flash, which we'll be talking about in a second. But it's everything from frontier models to open models and more. Our Gemini 3 model lineup has expanded pretty significantly both today and over the course of the last couple of months. We've got Gemini 3.5 Pro, which is still kind of our best and brightest model to use for complex problems. 3.5 Flash for kind of performance and speed and cost. This is also the Flash series is the default in AI Studio's build, right?
Yeah, we use 3.5 Flash as our default model for building apps, and it's incredibly capable. In fact, the AI Studio mobile app that'll be coming out in a few weeks, a bunch of it was built with 3.5 Flash. So it's just been amazing to see it ship across both Android and iOS.
Amazing. And then also 3.1 Flash Lite, which is really great for kind of these use cases that require low latency, but can also save you a lot of costs. Which is pretty cool. It's not just us using Gemini 3. We are blessed to have a whole bunch of customers across the industry, Databricks, GitHub, Harvey, Warp, and a whole bunch more that have Gemini 3 running in production. And Gemini is really remarkable in the industry because it's great at understanding all of these many different modalities, text and image and audio and video and code. But it can also output multiple modalities.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things is because it understands so many modalities. When you're building, especially when you're building apps, I upload a video of an animation, and it can understand the frames of that animation and then recreate that in code. And so video understanding just unlocks a whole new set of use cases. And I mean, so does all the other modalities.
Yep, and the screenshots that you can take and use to inform the front-end design for some of Build's features are really, really powerful tools as well. Our generative media models are kind of testaments to this fact, that we're able to output video, we can output audio, we have some pretty exciting text-to-speech models and Gemini Live models. And then also our live API, which we'll demo in just a second, gives you real-time interactions with Gemini itself. And today, we've talked a lot about Nano Banana, aka Gemini 3.1 Flash Image, which gives you high-fidelity visual assets. We've got Nano Banana 2, which you can try yourself in AI Studio. And today, we've basically released Nano Banana for video, Gemini Omni Flash, which allows you to create anything from any input, starting with video.
Starting with video, and I think the other thing is editing is such a tedious task, especially getting the little details right. And the fact that we have Nano Banana style editing for video now is like super exciting. And in the API soon, so that'll be really fun to build with as well.
100%. And if you haven't had a chance to try it yet, there's a really nice AI demo garden in the back of this building, if you're on site, that should allow you to create a commercial starring yourself using Omni. It's called Omnimercial. Be patient if there's a line, but it's a lot of fun to try. If you're curious about generative media, make sure to go to this session, Build Creative Apps with the Gen Media Suite later this week, with a couple of folks from our team, and they will be able to answer all of your questions. All of these models are stitched together in anti-gravity as kind of like the IDE that powers these experiences. We're all using anti-gravity pretty heavily at Google internally.
Every day.
Every single day to check in code, to help review code, to kind of design these new experiences. And we're also using AI Studio for everything from product ideation to building apps to rapid prototyping. Because it is the fastest path from prompt to apps. But I really hate slides.
Me too. I hate slides.
Okay, so we both hate slides. It's much more fun to show these things in action. So let's go ahead and go to some demos so you can actually see these tools, and we'll see how well the Wi-Fi holds up. Excellent.
Okay, back in the playground.
Back in the playground.
So for those who are not familiar, this is the AI Studio playground and homepage. Here, you can experiment with all of DeepMind's latest models. You can tweak all the parameters to see what they're capable of. It's an amazing way to just get a sense of all the capabilities. And you can just take code snippets from here and go and build apps with them as well. But Paige, you want to kick it off with a demo?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see, and then also show you how you can kind of select different media types in AI Studio if you haven't seen this before. You can add files from Drive, you can upload files, record audio, camera, add YouTube videos, and you can also select some sample media. So if I was to select this video, add it to the prompt, we've got Gemini 3.1 Flashlight pulled up, which is, again, kind of our most cost-optimized model. You can say, it should be pretty fast. You can say, create a table with timestamps, for all of the dinosaurs you see in this video. Make sure to include a fun fact about each dinosaur. Hit run, and we can see the number of tokens that's pulled from this 5-minute-ish long video. It's around 31,000.
Fast.
Very fast. We've got a table with the dinosaur name, the timestamps, the fun fact, and then if I hover over this token consumption, you can see that it took about $0.015 in order to do all that work, which is pretty wild.
Amazing.
And then, just like Ammaar said, if you click Get Code, you can see all of the code that you would need to use to replicate whatever you just did, including search as a one-liner for a tool call, this thinking config, and then the model selection that we have here up at the top. So that is Playground in a nutshell. And it allows you to experiment not just with our Gemini family of models, but also things like Nano Banana and some of the other video generation models that we have along the way. We also talked a little bit about Gemini Live.
I love this one.
Yes. And so Gemini Live gives you the opportunity to have a real-time conversation with the model, but also share multimodal content. It's been around for a while. But it's really, really cool to think about building into your apps. So if I click Share Screen, it's going to ask me to select a Chrome tab. I'm going to go ahead and select that dinosaur table that we just created previously, though you could select any app or any tab. I'm going to go back to Google AI Studio, and I'm going to say, hey there, Gemini, could you tell me what you see on the screen?
I'm looking at the Google AI Studio. The main part of the screen shows a table of dinosaurs with timestamps and fun facts about them. For instance, it says Ornithomimus was a speedy dinosaur. Is there anything specific you'd like me to focus on?
Does anybody speak a language other than English in the room? Arabic, awesome.
Yeah.
I also heard Brazilian Portuguese or Portuguese. Ooh, excellent. What? Chinese? Awesome. So I'm going to ask the model to repeat what it just said, but to say it in Chinese, and then we'll also try another couple of languages, but you have to fact check me, if that's okay. Cool. Hey there, Gemini. Could you repeat what you just said, but could you tell me in Chinese, please?
好的，没问题。我看到的是 Google AI Studio。屏幕的主要部分显示了一个恐龙表格，上面有时间戳和有趣的冷知识。比如上面说四鸟龙是一种速度很快的恐龙。你有什么特别想让我关注的内容吗？
Did it do okay? Excellent.
Let's go.
Wonderful. Amazing. Very cool. And then you can also, so that was just kind of asking it to change languages dynamically within the context of the conversation. You can also say in the system instructions, only respond to the user in Brazilian Portuguese. If I have a person who will fact check me in the audience for Brazilian Portuguese, yep, excellent. And then I'm going to turn on grounding with Google search, and we are going to ask Gemini a question as well. So, hey there, Gemini, can you tell me what you see? Can you tell me what you see?
Vejo duas pessoas na imagem, uma mulher e um homem. A mulher está com uma jaqueta jeans e o homem está com uma camisa preta. Os dois estão sorrindo. O que mais você gostaria de saber?
It was right? Okay. Cool. Amazing. And then since it's got grounding with Google search, I could also say, hey there, Gemini, could you tell me what the weather is like today in Mountain View, California?
Em Mountain View, Califórnia, hoje está fazendo 25 graus e o dia está limpo. A previsão é de temperatura máxima de 28 graus e mínima de 13 graus. Você quer saber a previsão para os próximos dias?
Was that also correct? Yep. Excellent. And you can also see the sources that it pulled in to help ground its outputs. And just like before, you can click Get Code and see everything that you would need in order to replicate the experiment that we just tried.
That's awesome.
So this is in Python and TypeScript and .NET, whatever your favorite language might be, both programmatic or computery. And AI Studio is really just a magical place to get started with all of these things. But it's not just the playground.
Not
right?
just the playground. Yeah, there's a lot more.
Do you want to show us builds and
Let's
what
do it.
y'all have been cooking there?
Yeah, so if you don't want to click Get Code and actually take code and build in an IDE, we offer a completely batteries included building experience, and that's build mode here. So I'm just going to click that. And build mode effectively allows you to prompt any idea into life, and you'll be able to pick between all the capabilities that we have to offer. So you can do text-to-speech, music generation, databases, and a new thing we've added that we're super excited about is building Android apps directly from AI Studio. And so what I'm really excited about is you won't have to deal with any of the setup of Android apps or getting a simulator or anything like that working. You'll just be able to prompt an app to existence. So an idea I had was around this piano, but I wanted to do it for this foldable phone I have over here.
Which is very fancy. How do I get one of those?
You just expense one. So all you have to do is say, I want to make a foldable piano app for fold phones where the top half of the screen is a tutorial and the bottom half are piano keys that I can play.
Awesome.
And the other thing I'll just show you is we just left it for a second, and it'll even give you suggestions that you can tab into your prompt. And so this just helps you build out a more complete prompt if you don't know where to go or if you're just curious about where the model could take you, which is always really fun.
Yep, so you can tab complete your way into a startup idea.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly.
Amazing.
But I don't like that idea, so I'm going to keep that away for now. And so I can go ahead and hit build, and it'll go and start to build this idea out. And so the other thing you'll see is AI Studio says right here it's generating a theme. And so what's happening is while your app is building on the left, AI Studio is also able to design a bunch of design themes for your app. And it's super fun to just see the inspiration kind of come through from the model. So you can see it's kind of giving us some interface ideas on how it's designing the app.
Oh, that's pretty.
We can choose between a few different ones. Even a video tutorial idea, which is pretty cool. Or this elegant dark one, which I really do like.
That is very pretty. I like the pastel colors.
Yeah, super nice, and I like the little glow it added. So these things help you kind of, I can hit select this design, and it'll just add that prompt in. Or I can just skip that and let it build that first version of the app. But while that builds, I actually did start this before this demo. So I do have it here. I'm just going to refresh this. And then we can go and build that one as well.
And this app is generated natively in Kotlin, is that right?
It's natively in Kotlin. And so again, similar prompt. You can see my first prompt again, build a piano app, foldable thing. And if I hit code, you can see all the Kotlin code. And the other thing you saw earlier was we said that anti-gravity export is also in the app.
Yep.
So you can click export and then take that over and go from there.
And it will also remember all of the context, all of the history, all of the kind of back and forth that you had in AI Studio as it brings it into anti-gravity.
Exactly. So the whole conversation kind of flows through, which is really nice. But OK, so we have this install button. I'm just going to zoom out for a sec. And it allows you to basically connect any phone and then install it via USB. The USB can sometimes be fiddly on stage, so we're going to try something. I'm just going to kill the USB connection and unlock my phone. Let's see if this works.
Amazing.
Yeah. Let's see if it installs the latest version. Allow. OK. Seems to be installing. And then, hopefully, any second now, on AI Studio, we will see the new build complete.
We'll install to the
Boom.
device. There it goes.
All right. So it's installed on the device. And you can see I have this piano app now on my foldable phone. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and super fun because I think you're just going to see so many new developers come through who just wanted to make apps for their phone or the web, and all they had to do is describe it in AI Studio.
Do you want to start it a little bit?
Should I play it? Yeah. See how it goes.
I'm not sure if y'all can hear here, but it looks like it's popped up on the screen as well.
Yeah.
So maybe we could also try in the Android emulator.
Well, the emulator is getting audio soon.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not very good, but this is exactly why I need this app. So yeah, this is coming, and then soon we'll also have Play Store distribution as well. So you'll be able to just submit an app from the Play Store from here, and then you're published to the world.
Amazing.
Yeah. Alongside Android development, soon we'll also have the ability to build, well, actually rolling out today is workspace apps as well.
Which means you can connect Gmail and Calendar and all of the other workspace products into AI Studio. Is that right? Just through prompting?
Just through prompting.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have an idea?
I have an idea about, so I know that we've been talking about our meeting invites. And our calendars are a little bit overwhelmed. Wasn't there an idea that you had around sort of calendar roulette?
I did. You know, I've already built that one. Should I show you?
Yep, let's see it.
It's a pretty fun one. Yeah. It's a slightly scary app for those who might not want to, trust a model to do this. But I basically was like, hey, just look at my calendar, find any meeting, and then just delete it. But definitely ask me before you do that, because I need to check if I can.
And make sure it's not a meeting with Logan.
And make sure it's not a meeting with Logan, yeah. So we're just going to sign in, a little risky. And then you can see it's like picked up some meetings, it's got that, and I can spin it, and then it's going to go and figure out what meeting to delete.
I love that it's got all of the I/O, Keynote, LaunchCal, all of these things.
Yeah.
And it's automatically used OAuth to log you in with your Google account based on our Firebase integrations.
Exactly. And so you can see it even knows there are 15 events later today. So I definitely want to get out a few of those. I'll be using this app to make that happen.
Excellent. Sounds good to me. So cool. So this is a great overview of Playground and Build, some of the newest features in both.
Yeah.
And I think that we're really, really excited to see what y'all can create with AI Studio and with all of these tools. To access it, all people have to do is go to ai.dev, right?
Yeah, they only have to go to ai.dev. Somebody's telling me to spin this wheel, and I'm too afraid to see what it's going to do live. So we'll save that for later, you and me.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. Well, let's go back. So this is a brief taste of all of the things that we've been building in the AI Studio team. If you're curious about AI Studio, you're in luck, because the next section is all about AI Studio, anti-gravity, and how you can incorporate those workflows into your own projects. We've also released something called the Interactions API within AI Studio. So you can create an API key and get started with agents. And build new agentic experiments with the Gemini APIs. If you're curious about that, about our managed agent platform, we talked a little bit about it in the keynotes earlier this morning.
Yeah.
But it's basically giving you the ability to that same vibe coding style that you just saw, where you can describe in natural language anything, It will generate a managed agent for you, connecting to services and running on a cloud VM.
Yeah, and it's the anti-gravity agent powering all of it, which is really awesome. So you have the exact same power and capabilities working in an environment with just one API call.
Amazing. And if you're curious about that, make sure to go see the Build Agents with Gemini API session with Philip and Thor later this week. They'll also be touching a little bit on the Gemini Live API, around our text-to-speech models, and all of the things that you can do with those. We've not only been shipping frontier models, though,
right.
And something that's really near and dear to my heart is open models.
Open models, open source models, and I think to see how far Gemma 4 has come and what's possible with it, and especially the demos we've been seeing this week on how it's running on device and pulling off some incredible things.
Absolutely. And Gemma 4 is available to test out in the Playground and AI Studio as well for folks who want to get started. An under-known fact, I think, is that you get a non-zero number of Gemma calls and the Gemini APIs for free. So if you wanted to incorporate it into your app, it's great at understanding video, audio, images, text, code, kind of all of the above. And you can kind of compare and contrast with the Gemini models and other models that you might have incorporated into your apps as well. We've got a huge, huge Gemma 4 community that's pulling down many downloads across the world. Gemma supports over 140 different languages. You can find it today on Hugging Face. It has a 256,000 token context window. And if you want to learn more about the Gemma open model family, make sure to check out this session with Olivier, Gus, and Ian, also later this week. We've also been really blessed to have strong partnerships with the Unsloth community, with Olama, and many others like Kaggle to bring these Gemma models into the world. And it's been only the beginning for what's possible with Gemma 4. So this is also for folks who haven't tried running models at the edge before. Actually, I'm really curious. How many folks have used open models before or using them in your projects? Few hands. If not, definitely make sure to try out the Google AI Edge Gallery. It's a great way to bring down costs for your projects, especially as the models that you can use on mobile devices, on laptops are getting more and more powerful.
Yeah, I especially love the offline usage because I was on a plane ride, it's about 8 hours, and Gemma 4 vibe coding with it, and it actually worked really well.
Amazing.
So it's amazing to see that all run locally.
Yeah, and Gemma 4 can run on your laptop. Gemma 2 can even run on a mobile device.
Yeah.
So I think we've added it to the Pixel 10 so that it can power some of the on-device agentic use cases that folks might want on Android and on Pixel devices. And again, if you're curious about on-device ML, Sachin and Aaron will tell you all about it later this week, too. Google is kind of special, though, in the sense that we aren't just a company that has models that are available via REST APIs, models that are available to download and to fine-tune and to use for your projects. We also have our open source TPU software stack.
Yeah.
So everything from inference to post-training, pre-training, and model building. Kind of the usual suspects like VLLM for TPU inference for both JAX and PyTorch, Tunix for post-training with RL and agentic workflows, MaxText, and then also JAX and Torch TPU for making TPUs run really fast and in a really performant way. It's been amazing to see how much JAX has been able to push the boundaries for every single model that we build at Google. And our DeepMind team is exclusively using JAX to build out all of its models and infrastructure. And if you're curious about that, make sure to go to Josh's session later this week, where he'll be talking about how you can scale AI with the TPU software stack. This full stack approach is really unique. Everything from AI infrastructure to data to models to our AI platform on cloud, to things like agents and apps via Gemini Spark, via AI Studio, and more. And also all of this being done in a very secure way. I was really excited to see the SynthID announcements earlier today.
Yeah, with the partners.
Yeah, partnering with even other model service providers across the industry. and attempting to do this in a way that really is kind of putting safety and responsibility at the
I think we'll need to give the calendar roulette app to everybody here to clear their schedule for all these sessions. Yeah.
This is true. Amazing. So what's next? Like, I guess that's the general question.
Always.
Like, given all of these things that exist today, that were announced today, this overwhelming onslaught of AI that's even just from Google and the DeepMind team that's being released into the world, what are you most excited about that's coming next?
Well, I love all the robotics stuff. It's
Yes.
always super exciting. I know you love the robots too.
I really, really love the robotics stuff,
Yeah.
especially since because of the Gemini APIs, they can be put pretty much anywhere. Like
Anywhere. Literally.
any device that can call a REST API is capable of using our robotics.
Yeah, and there was a great demo of Reshi Mini from Hugging Face, and it was using Gemini Robotics.
Yep.
And that's open source as well, that project.
Yep.
But yeah, we recently announced Gemini Robotics 1.6, and it's just incredible to see that out in the wild now.
Yeah, and I think it's also really powerful in the sense that, you mentioned the Reshi Mini.
Yeah.
There's also a beautiful open source project from Stanford called the Pupper, which is used for their CS curriculum. It has a Raspberry Pi powering it behind the scenes. All of the parts are 3D printed. But since it's just kind of using this commodity hardware, it can call the Gemini Live API, use Gemini Robotics ER to kind of manipulate this little robotic dog, and you can ask it to do anything from like follow me, and it will follow you around the stage.
So cool.
Yeah. Or to like go and fetch that ball.
How much training is needed for that one?
Mostly, so it's not any training required. It's batteries included. Like the first dog that you do not have to train.
Yeah.
But you just have a conversation with Pupper, and it's capable of having having kind of this dynamic interop with you across a broad spectrum of use cases.
That's awesome.
Yeah. In addition to that, we also have our world model family. Genie 3, which was touched on a little bit today in the keynotes.
Yeah, part of the Omni model, and it gives it the understanding of the physics of the world and how things actually work. And that's why you see the video coherence is so good, because it actually understands how things actually need to work in the real world.
Absolutely. And you can describe any world that you would like to experience and then navigate around it using your arrow keys in order to create a short video. So as an example, this is a prompt that, a tranquil waterfall cliff area featuring dynamic water physics, and then a character, which is a high-speed paper airplane. And so you can see, similar to what Ammaar was just mentioning, the physics of the airplane as it's kind of interacting with some of the splashes, the physics of the currents in the river, how this is moving and banking, and then
even the reflections of the light on the water.
It's so nice. Could you play it again, please? Awesome, thank you. And so you can see even the splashes kind of going down in the water as it jumps off the waterfall. So I strongly encourage you all to play around with Genie 3. It's available today if you have a Google AI Ultra subscription, in addition to many of the other products that were featured in the keynotes this morning. Awesome. And then, so I think the most important thing to call out is that we're building kind of the first generation of tools for people who are AI native, and who really don't have to ask for permission in order to create anything that they've been imagining.
I keep telling people all you literally have to do is just go to that prompt box and describe your idea. And people have asked me, what is a tip you have or something for folks? And I usually just go in assuming that the idea I have is going to work.
Yep.
And you'll realize how far you can actually push the model to make your idea very real. And if it doesn't work in this iteration, I guarantee you another model iteration, and you'll be able to make that idea come to life.
Yep. And since we've been adding databases to AI Studio, authentication, even things like these workspace integrations, it really does feel like you can go very far without ever needing to leave the browser and popping into an IDE.
Yeah, and soon on your phone too with the AI Studio mobile app coming very soon.
Amazing. And I can't wait for this world where I'm just walking around, describe an idea that I have, and then by the time I get home, it's already landed in my inbox.
You're just a few weeks away from that.
Very cool. Amazing. So for anyone who is curious, excited, who wants to try out and test more, wants to try our models, make sure to go to ai.studio/build. And we also just want to say thank you so much for coming to I/O this year, for your energy, for your excitement.
Yeah.
We really appreciate y'all and can't wait to see what you build.
Yeah.